Hi guys. I am Tim.
Hi guys, I am Kim. Tim, we are looking funny today.
Yes, Kim, we are devils.
Welcome to our YouTube channel Tim and Kim.
Today we are going to talk about most horror films of all times.
Horror films. I don't afraid of horror films.
Don't like him. Before that, don't forget to support our channel.
First, we are going to talk about the film The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an American horror franchise consisting of 8 slasher films, comics, and a video game adaptation of the original film.
This supernatural horror film has released in 1974. The film follows a group of friends who fall victim to a family of cannibals while on their way to visit an old homestead.
Resources says that this story was really happened in the Hewitt House, Texas Chainsaw Massacre location, Ranger, TX Road Trippers. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was banned in several countries, and numerous theaters stopped showing the film in response to complaints about its violence.
The film was marketed as being based on true events to attract wider audience and to act as a subtle commentary on the era's political climate. Although the character of Leatherface and minor story details were inspired by the crimes of murderer Ed Gein, its plot is largely fictional.
Kim, do you know what is our next movie?
Yeah Tim, but why are you looking around the room?
I am hearing the strange sounds around the room, Kim.
Tim, stop joking. The next movie is Night of the Living Dead.
This is the American independent horror film which released in 1968. The story follows 7 people who are trapped in a rural farmhouse in western Pennsylvania,
which is under assault by an enlarging group of cannibalistic, undead ghouls.
The dead come back to life and eat the living in this low-budget, black and white film.
Anyone who dies during the crisis of causes unrelated to brain trauma will return as a flesh-eating zombie.
The only way to destroy the zombies is to destroy the brain.
Tim, which is our next movie?
Our next movie is Halloween.
American independent slasher film, released in 1978.
The plot tells about a mental patient who was committed to a sanitarium for murdering his babysitting teenage sister on Halloween night when he was 6 years old.
15 years later, he escapes and returns to his hometown, where he stalks a female babysitter and her friends, while under pursuit by his psychiatrist.
While not as gory and overtly violent as other horror movies, it still has plenty of violent moments. Characters are stabbed and strangled.
While the scares of Halloween might not match up against modern horror movies, it is an overall better movie than almost everything that comes out in the genre these days. That is less a knock against modern horror. Tim, don't you know the next film?
I know, Kim. It is Exorcist. It is the first installment in the Exorcist film series which released in 1973, and follows the demonic possession of 12-year-old Regan and her mother's attempt to rescue her through an exorcism conducted by 2 Catholic priests.
It's a compelling story and was terrifying at the time. If you saw it in the theaters, you probably didn't sleep well that night.
The point is not that it isn't a good movie, it's that it's no longer a good horror movie. The actual exorcism scene is still unnerving, but it's more gross than frightening. The
Exorcist is not just one of the scariest films ever made. It's also one of the most well-constructed horror movies of all time. Tim, do you know what is our next movie?
Yeah, Kim, but why are you doing like a mental?
Yeah Tim, now I am a psycho.
Yes guys, our next movie is Psycho. Psycho is an American suspense film and psychological thriller, released in 1960.
A secretary goes on the run after she steals $40,000, only to wind up in a motel. where the innkeeper and his mother are more than they appear to be.
When it was released, Psycho was somewhat controversial for containing a number of things that weren't deemed acceptable by the notably prudish standards of the day.
In an effort to keep spoilers to a minimum and thus ensure audiences were as surprised as possible by the film's more shocking twists and scenes, Hitchcock went to some rather extreme lengths to keep the film's basic plot a secret.
Kim, I am over to talk about horror films.
No, Tim. We have 2 more to go.
Really? Then complete it fast.
Okay, let's talk about next horror film. A Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street is an American supernatural slasher film released in 1984. A supernatural killer stalks his prey while they dream during deep sleep.
The plot concerns 4 teenagers living on one street in the fictitious town of Springwood, Ohio, who are invaded and killed in their dreams, and thus killed in reality, by a burnt killer with a bladed leather glove.
This is inspired by Wes Craven-based A Nightmare on Elm Street, on a series of newspaper articles from the Los Angeles Times about a strange phenomenon where young Asian refugees would mysteriously die in their sleep.
It was reported that many would refuse to sleep, citing terrifying nightmares that they feared would lead to death. Finally, we are in the end of the video. The last film is Conjuring series. The Conjuring series is a supernatural horror film where the first film released in 2013.
According to The Telegraph, The Conjuring 2 is dangerous to watch. It appears that watching The Conjuring 2 can get you killed or simply haunt your house.
And while none of the scenarios sound like fun, there have been a few incidents worth being worried about.
As other people have also noted, The Conjuring as a movie is not like very scary or anything. It's popular because it's a fresh take on horror.
Starting from the very first frame, it appears the writer and director were invested in making of the film and understanding their craft well.
Tim, it is time to end up the topic.
Yes, Kim. I won't talk anymore about horror. We hope you guys are liking our video. If you have any suggestions or queries, put your words in comment section.
We are concentrating on give worthful and correct information to you all. We are referring many resources to collect all the information. Mostly we try to give 80% information accurately.
Please put your comments if you watch these films. See you all in another interesting video. Thank you.
Don't forget to like and share. Thank you.